Today, I am going to give you my top tips for convenient meal prep. Let's get started. I am going to share with you guys a lot of meal prep tips that may not have been as obvious to you as you may have thought, and hoping you enjoy the video and all these pointers. Here we go. Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Christine with Gauge Girl Training, an online meal planning and coaching service. I'm a food scientist and chemical engineer by training, and today I am going to give you my top tips for convenient meal prep. So let's get started. All right, so let's say you've decided it's time you get your act together and focus on your nutrition, but you just are a busy human being or you just don't like to cook. So if you fall under this circumstance, which a lot of people do, you need a meal plan based on convenience. The beauty of the services at Gauge Girl Training is that our programs are customized to you and your needs. I have some clients who are glorified foodies, food snobs who love the bougiest ingredients on the planet, and that's fun and that's fine. However, for others, meal prep can be a nightmare and you need it simple, you need it to taste good, you need it to be economical, and you need it to not consume a lot of your mental power. So if this is you, listen up. I am going to share with you guys a lot of meal prep tips that may not have been as obvious to you as you may have thought, and hoping you enjoy the video and all these pointers. So here we go. Okay guys, so tip number one is to simplify your meat. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I'm encouraging you to get a seasoned meat or to get a ground meat that you just season, as opposed to taking that raw meat, packing it into patties or meatballs or doing something else extra to it. It's a lot easier to simplify your meat by just taking a ground meat, cooking it in the skillet, and then being done with it, as opposed to taking it, forming meatballs, baking it, then doing this and then doing that. So basically, step number one, simplify your meat. Step number two, slow cooking. If you are moving more towards crock pot style meals as opposed to a skillet meal, for a crock pot meal, you guys, I have several crock pot recipes, several crock pot YouTube videos, as well as a crock pot ebook. All you do, you guys, is dump the ingredients, turn it on, and that's it. You leave it be, as opposed to something that's going to be in a skillet where you may need to be standing there watching it, preparing and doing lots of things. That's going to take more time and energy, where all you need to do is just find the ingredients, dump them, and go. So I would encourage slow cooking as tip number two. Tip number three, use pre-cooked meat. Now this may be a more expensive option for some people, but time is money. So when I say a pre-cooked meat, I would recommend a pre-cooked grocery store rotisserie chicken. You can get them very low cost at most major grocery stores. You can get them low cost at Walmart, at Costco's, again, major national grocers, as opposed to a home-cooked oven roaster. A lot of people don't have time for that. Just buy it pre-cooked. Tip number four, lunch meat. Don't rule lunch meat out. You can get some really nice pre-cooked deli meats as opposed to oven roasted meats. When I say oven roasted meats, again, I'm talking about oven roasting chickens, oven roasting turkeys, oven roasting like beef to make roast beef. You can purchase them already pre-cooked and pre-sliced, of nice quality without the nitrates and the sodium and all that stuff. So you may want to consider moving towards lunch meat. Next tip number four, is shakes. You could always use a meal replacer shake as opposed to having a home cooked sit down breakfast. I know I personally love a home cooked warm breakfast, but if you just don't have the time, you guys, all you need to do is put your shake together, blend it and go, and you will be set. You'll be ready to rock. Don't forget that you can do that. Tip number six, plan your smoothies in advance so you can actually prep the smoothie ingredients in Ziploc baggies and allow them to easily be dumped in a blender for future use. So I actually did a blog on this, and you can look at it right here, of these smoothie meal prep ideas of where you literally plan everything out in advance and everything's in a Ziploc baggie. Then all you do is dump it in the blender and turn it on and add your almond milk or water or whatever liquid you're going to blend it with. The next tip I have, tip number 7, is one-step carbs. What do I mean by one-step carbs? If carbs are in your meal plan, you could easily have some rice, cook it in bulk in a rice cooker, as opposed to chopping and peeling and roasting sweet potatoes. There are extra steps. Those extra steps are going to cost you more time, more handling, as opposed to just taking the rice, adding the water, putting it in the rice cooker, and being done. Tip number 8, which is choosing your fruit wisely. There are some fruit that is easier to meal prep as opposed to others. So there is some ready-to-eat fruit, for instance, whole apples or bananas, as opposed to labor-intensive fruit such as like a cantaloupe, a pineapple, a watermelon. Those are going to take you more time to cut and seed and peel and do all those things. So choose fruit more wisely and choose fruit that is ready to eat. So my next tip is don't bother peeling your produce. This is going to be an extra time, labor-intensive step that you don't need to do. So things like sweet potatoes, carrots, apples, beets, they roast amazing with the skin on. The same goes for cucumbers, kiwis, grapes, peaches, nectarines, ginger, acorn squash. Leave the skin on, obviously rinse it and wash it. These things taste great with the skin on, and it also includes additional antioxidants and nutrients. The next tip number 9, is break your breakfast routine. So you don't have to be afraid to have leftover dinner food for breakfast. I am queen of having dinner food for breakfast, and it's an easy microwavable thing. Your breakfast does not have to be conventional. Breakfast doesn't have to mean breakfast food. I mean, I've literally grown up having rice and eggs for breakfast and my entire life. There's no rules that says breakfast needs to be pancakes. It can be whatever it is you want it to be, just make sure it fits your macros. And last but not least, I have so many tips here. I'm gonna just give you guys one more. My last tip for you guys for convenient meal prep is to have a go-to takeout meal. Yes, I said it, have a go-to takeout meal. So for me, growing up, my go-to takeout meal was always Chinese food. And when I'm meal prepping, and even on contest prep, I could always go to any Chinese food place in America anywhere and literally get like steamed chicken and mixed vegetables, brown rice or white rice on the side, but you just know you're going to have a healthy meal. So that's my backup meal, a just Chinese takeout meal. You can get steamed chicken and mixed vegetables, you can get steamed shrimp. For other people, like Chipotle might be your backup meal, Subway might be your backup meal, but always have a go-to healthy takeout meal option that you could easily get, so you already know what it is you would get if you were going to get it. I get it, guys, we're all very busy people, but you always need to have just something healthy that you can rely on. And even if it's the same thing, there's nothing wrong with eating the same thing repeatedly. Sometimes I enjoy that, honestly. But I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. I have a bajillion more of these tips, and so you will be seeing a new ebook coming out related to my meal prep tips, so make sure you be on the lookout for that. But I hope you found these tips helpful, and I hope you implement them in your meal prep. So take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.